Welcome everyone. This is Heroes Hype Live, episode number 10, your source for all the latest action in the North American amateur scene and beyond, up to the pros. My name is Lawrence. My pleasure to be joined by the one and only Maybe Buzz and Aether. Now, these guys, we were getting ready. We did sound check beforehand. And these two jokers were yucking it up. Just having a good old time, and I couldn't hear a word of it. And I was like, what are y'all talking about? Still never found out.
We're making plans.
Yeah, we're making plans.
See?
We got stuff in the works.
Conspiracy theory. Well, they have something up their sleeves, but I'm really glad you guys are all here. We have a very exciting episode tonight. A lot to discuss. We had a new patch to come out today, and about midway through, we'll be joined by HeroesHearth's own Khroen and BBJ. That is exciting. I really can't wait to talk to those guys.
Yeah, there's been so many great things coming out of them this half of the open split and big exciting news, and they look like a really strong team, and yeah, I'm really excited to talk to them about that.
Yeah, there's definitely some topics that we have listed that we want to mull over with them. There's one in particular I really want to ask them, and I would love to get you guys' input as well. Heroes Hype Live. The heavy emphasis is on the word live. Feel free to get involved in the chat. We'll give you a shout out. We'll take your input. Right. We want to hear from you guys. We want this to be...
We will answer your questions anytime.
There he is. See?
Tweet, in the chat, text message,
smoke
email.
Signal.
Yep.
Smoke signal. We'll do it all.
Catch Aether in the supermarket.
Snapchat.
Right. Ask me a question. See me in the supermarket? Ask me a question.
He'll be like...
Street
He'll be just plucking a box of Frosted Flakes off the shelf, and you're like, "Hey, man, but about Kel'Thuzad."
Dude, I'd be so hype. I'd take it if somebody literally stopped me in the supermarket and was like, "Dude, I know who you are. Let me ask you some Heroes of the Storm questions." I'd be like, "Bro, let me take a picture with you first. Biggest fan right here. This guy, man, you can't tell me you wouldn't be hyped if somebody just on the street just stops you and was like, "Haloran, bro, what is up, man?"
I would be pretty hyped about that. The closest I've ever actually gotten is after the Heroes of the Dorm finals. I check out. I'm going to the airport and stuff. I'm getting ready to fly back. I go through the checkout, and you take your shoes off, you step to the thing, get your stuff back, you go over to your terminal or whatever. And the person behind me was like, "Are you Haloran?" And I just wasn't even in that frame of mind at all. I was just Albert, just going home. I was like, "Yeah, I am." And then we just talked for about 15-20 minutes. His name is Nelstar. I'm still friends with him on Twitter to this day. So I don't know. It would be pretty cool.
I just love how you're I right now in this moment, I'm not Haloran. Here's the dorm ended. I'm Albert now, guys. It's some Jekyll and Hyde stuff going on there. At night you become Haloran, but during the day you're just normal Albert, going to work, living your life.
Revealed. Well, I mean,
did the blue beard throw you too? Was his beard blue at that point?
Y'all take it. I did have a blue beard. No, I'm always just me, but I don't know. It's just out of context. You don't expect that. If I'm walking around in the supermarket, I don't think anyone's gonna be like, "Hey, are you Haloran?"
Yeah. No, I think that'd be really cool to kind of makes you feel cool, definitely, right?
Yeah, I just want to be as cool as Aether when I grow up. And as cool.
No, that's never gonna happen to me, man.
I'm never gonna be as cool as Aether. Damn.
No,
never gonna be cool as Aether. Confirmed. Wow. Now I know what y'all are talking about. Y'all were like, "Look, you see how uncool."
Don't let me in with him.
Y'all yucking up "Hey, so."
Haloran, you passed me oh my god, I don't think I could ever reach even when you were 5, I think you had way more swag than me.
He was probably so smooth, right? He's the smoothest 5-year-old.
Literally, when he was born, Doctor was gonna spank him, and he turns around, and he's like, "What's up?" And then the guy just "Oh dang!"
Yeah, I was like, "Nah, I'm good."
No thanks, man. No thanks, man.
Appreciate it. Nah, I was not that outgoing growing up. Still not.
Okay.
But we have a lot to talk about. The patch came out today. I have not yet had a chance to jump into the live patch, but it's definitely gonna make some waves. not only for the competitive level, both in the pro scene and amateur once the patch rolls live. The Heroes Esports channel just sent out a tweet that said like week 8. I don't think there's gonna be any change, but then like the patch hits, but KT's not available week 9, and then week 10 is when the Call of Kel'Thuzad hits the HGC. There's definitely gonna be a lot of implications there, because even in just the patch notes, those reworks, I think the game's gonna feel very different from a draft perspective.
Yeah, I mean, we have to look at kind of what changes hit some of the mages, right, and whether or not that's going to really define the meta. I think one really important one that people have discussed a lot on Reddit, kind of like you've seen some of the math changes for Chromie, but Chromie's already getting picked now, right? That's the one character you always have to worry about, is the characters who are getting played now and are like drawing bans on some maps, like Braxis, Tomb, Shrines. Like Chromie is just a very dominating pick on those 3 maps, right? So what happens with this change where the early damage kind of gets reduced and you have to hit more of your Qs, and is that scaling problem going to be an issue for why people pick Chromie, right? Chromie is an early game pick. She helps you stop sieging. She's just amazing at so many things, but when she loses that early game pressure, is she going to still be picked? That's a lot of teams, not just open teams, not just HGC teams. A lot of teams are going to have to worry about that change in itself.
And more than just that, you are going to have to worry about it, because it's going to affect everything. Unranked, Hero League, Team League. We got a new season starting up. I actually feel like when a character gets a rework, it has more of an impact on the overall meta than when a new hero shows up. Because, like, Garrosh comes out. He's strong in the right hands. He has a huge impact. He gets first ban. So then the things that were getting first banned before him are then second banned, and then it's kind of like this pecking order. But everyone already knows the established pecking order. So it's like, oh, I'm not too surprised to see this first pick or this follow-up. I still have a grasp on things. When you shake up a hero like Chromie, who sees play in the current meta every now and again, is Chromie now a general hero that they can show up on any map now? Are they out of that niche pick? A hero like Jaina, who's flatlined on the meta for the past 9 months at the least, is she top priority now? Like, is she gonna show up in the 1-2 rotation in the 2-3?
I think we're going to see a lot of Jaina in like Hero League and like just like regular play, because I think that she's one of those heroes that's been around for so long that people feel comfortable on her. And like with the improved survivability, it makes it like a more Hero League friendly hero too.
Yeah, I think something that a lot of people look to do in Hero League is carry. And I think if you're a skilled Jaina player and you're able to get that 15,000 critical damage sooner rather than later, you're going to freaking go to town on people. So
I mean, I really like what you brought up about the reworks, right? Because it does change so much, and when these characters start moving in, right, it's like some of the questions, like let's say Jaina is like not just Hero League viable, but competitively viable, right? All the characters that have been in the meta that maybe are now counters to Jaina, you might not, or like counters to Jaina or get countered by Jaina, you might not know that unless you start really hammering down more practice for her. But you might come into a game and be like, guys, Jaina's not very good. Let me go ahead and just pick Garrosh, because Garrosh is so good on my team. My team loves Garrosh or something. And then it's like, guys, I can't even get near anybody because Jaina's just continually slowing me. Like all those picks that people like to do now, maybe even Mathael might phase out, right? The burst damage from Jaina is might just be too much. It might pop his ult and just immediately die. There's so many different things you have to look at here, and so much just from that one reworked character, right, where everyone's like, I know where she fits, and then now you're just like, no idea anymore. All of it's out the window.
Yeah, I think her being potentially viable at the competitive level is going to shake up a lot. It feels bad if you're like Arthas and you're going up against Jaina. You're like, all right, guys, here's where I go to and get. Wait, I'm slowed.
Wait, guys,
wait.
What is
wait. I just want to talk. I just want to talk. Yeah, I think Mountfield could see himself getting bodied out of the meta. It's like if Jaina jukes his little E wave. He'll never get there. He's a pinata. He's just
But I love the Blizzard theming where Jaina is good against Arthas and against Garrosh. Like, ooh, Blizzard, thank you for keeping up with our lore, right? Because like Jaina was there to stop
Immersion.
Garrosh, was there to stop Arthas, right? Thank you, Blizzard.
And-
10 out of 10.
Yeah, but now we have Dreadlord Jaina.
Oh,
True. Theory confirmed.
I
I don't know.
man.
You already talked.
I don't know too much about the lore, but I think it'd be messed up if she ended up being a Dreadlord for real. Like
I feel like
She literally has been gone this entire recent expansion, so she's coming
has
back
she?
evil. That's how you do it in
yeah,
World of Warcraft lore.
I didn't.
you come back with a bang,
You come back evil. That's how you do it.
make an entrance,
Hey, I mean,
new
why
outfit,
wasn't she there
new
helping?
attitude.
Ooh, I hope she gets a new outfit. Ooh, something really spicy.
There you go. But
Blizzard, if you're
Chromie, Jaina got reworks. We would be remiss to leave out Lieutenant Morales. If you guys got to see the HTC this past weekend, Bakery was able to use Morales to great effect to close out that series. So it's definitely interesting to see a hero that has a specific place in compositions, can excel at a high level, and then they're just fundamentally changed at their very core.
Yeah,
and-
some pros have already gotten their hands on this character today, and from what I've been hearing about Morales, people are like I even saw like some tweets where people are like, guys, play Morales right now before they fix her because she is just busted right now. Like everybody get into
Really?
Hero League, do your placement games, pick Morales. This is insane.
Wow.
You know, like that kind of level of reaction for that one hero rework.
I mean, support players have to feel pretty good about that, I suppose. Because, I don't know, the support meta, it was pretty wide for a while, in my opinion. But once Uther got taken down a peg, I was like, ooh. Malfurion lost cleanse, I was like, ooh. Then Ario got kicked in the pants, and I was like, God. Was it Rhaegar again
He's
now?
coming back. Yeah, Rhaegar.
Lucy.
I mean, Morales is the same thing. Like everyone's when they rework a hero that's been around for a really long time, I think it allows people to feel comfortable to play it. And I mean, like I'm looking forward to playing it because, like, if it's OP, I'm doing my placement matches on her.
Oh, going in.
going in hot.
But I do love the thing that we kind of brought up a little bit where Blizzard talks about some of these ideas, right? It's like, guys, this is going to be the year of support, right? Supports, you guys are going to be so happy. And then it's like Uther takes over, cleanse is removed, characters reworked, and like some of them failed, and some of the characters people like to play as like a solo support, it's no longer an option. And then now you're like forced to duo support in some cases, and that kind of stuff. So it's just like, maybe they missed on that year of support, or maybe this is what they wanted. They're like, everyone's going to become a support player. When duo support hits the Hero League meta, everyone will play support players. Year of the support. So it depends on which way you want to look at that, right?
I mean, do you think that they're like trying to like open up the viability of things because they want to implement another ban?
That's a good question.
That would be pretty high level game theory if that was the long con play. I mean, it could definitely be it. Stoking those flames, the ready people up for another ban. I think. I mean, either way, I
What do
think
you
another
think
ban
we'd
needs
see?
to happen sooner or later.
What do you
Mhm.
think we'd see first? Duo Q returning or a third ban coming in?
Duo Q.
I would think a duo queue would come back before third ban shows up.
I mean, you'd think that they would like listen to the feedback. I think everybody wants duo queue, right? Like no matter at what level or tier you're at as far as the hero ladder, right? I'm gold and I want duo queue because you wouldn't play with your friends. Like this game is so much more fun when you play with your friends. I think that like Blizzard is very cognitive of the fact that games are meant to be played with friends, and because like there really isn't that any sort of like guild aspect in Heroes of the Storm, that like there has to be a way that they make it that you can play competitively with your friends. So I mean, like I have to hope that maybe we'll get an announcement at BlizzCon or something, you know, like when they do like that super hypey slideshow at BlizzCon and it's like the next year of Heroes, maybe that'll be like the thing that we get.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any right or wrong answer for that because anything that they decide to do is going to have some kind of weird consequence. If they keep things as it is right now, I actually see the overall player base either stagnating or dwindling because of the idea that people do play this game the most when they're playing with friends. It feels like Hero League's kind of like the main mode. So to force a you play by yourself aspect to one of the most played things, if the matches continue to be unenjoyable as most people express, people are just going to stop playing. Because Team League in its current state, I don't think it's hitting any of those checkboxes. I just think the match quality is too all over the place. But at the same time, if they return Duo Q, then Team League is for sure dead because as few people play it now, if there's Duo Q again, you'll never see 2 people sign up in Team League, I don't think. Let's go to Hero League.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true also, is that like you'd have that awkward situation where you have like a group of 3 and there's no way to fill it with another 2 spots. So I guess that is the other side of it.
I'm sure they'll give you options of like if you want a QS2 for Team League or QS2 for Hero League, but you're right. If that 2 implicates or just gets implemented, and even if they have the option of choosing between one or the other, like the 3-man queues are going to be absolutely dead. Like it'll say like estimated wait time and it just says never. Like because no one would. I don't think anybody, if they had the option to QS2 people for Hero League, would ever QS2 for Team League. I don't know about you guys. Like,
yeah,
it's easier to climb Team League, I think, than Hero League.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point too.
I mean, some fundamental things I feel have to happen one way or the other. If they're gonna keep it solo queue for Hero League, I think for both leagues you gotta have rank decay. Because I'm tired of seeing people come in like, oh, I haven't played the game in 6 months. Who do I pick? And it's like, dude, I can't help you with that. Like, why would you come in a Hero League like that? Like,
all right, here's some links. Here's the last week of HGC. This is the current meta. Right. Get freshed up. Like, here's some guides from Baker. You know, like left and right, slapping them with everything in the messages.
Go to Reddit.
Is that what you do for them when they come in? Yeah, you link them Reddit. You link them like HeroesHearth. You link them all the stuff that they can. Like, come on, catch up. I don't have time to wait for you. You know what I mean? I gotta win this game. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I understand that people are like, well, solo queue Hero League still feels the effect of when people were effectively boosted before. But as long as rank decay is not a part of the equation, that's never going to really fix itself.
Do you feel like they should be at all ranks? They should do that? Because like I think in Overwatch, it only is Master. Like once you drop back down to Diamond, you stop losing decay if you don't play.
Well, I mean, I think that's a good point. I think it should be at least Diamond, somewhat high plat, because a lot of the people that you're seeing who are entering the plat level are people who used to be rank 1s right back in preseason, never played the game. They come in, they get their 3 games, they're Diamond 3. Maybe I want to keep playing. I have no idea what I'm doing, and then they immediately drop to plat 1, and they're just gatekeeping everyone else in plat 1. You know what I mean? So, I think it might need to extend at least to me, it just feels like it'd be wrong if you're like, guys, I'm bronze 5 and I decay to wood 1. Like, I don't know.
I think like the lowest bar for no rank decay should be like plat 3. Like if you're plat 1, you can rank decay to plat 3. If you're below plat 3, like you stay where you're at. Because I feel like the plat range should be where I might not have played in a while, but I'm mechanically skilled enough to still, be a contributor. And I'm hoping that having rank decay in general would mean that, like, the overall level of game sense would be there. Because I think that's the biggest problem, not having rank decay. Like, people, it's like, why did you rotate like that? Like, why aren't you here for this team fight? Like,
why are you doing that boss by yourself?
Right.
Or, guys, go core, stop going in that camp, But,
right.
No, I think that would actually help a lot with a lot of issues too. Like a lot of the major issue when you get into plat, diamond, master is that a lot of people don't want to play. Like, I mean, I remember this. Like, this is what I do even for my own account. I would come in, I'd play the first week of a season, get grandmaster. I'm like, okay, see you guys next season. Because people don't want to keep playing. But if you have this rank decay implemented, and then they're like, I want to go as far as I can. Sure, you might get the rewards for how far you went or something like that. Like, you won't lose rewards, right? But some people, They want to go further. And so it at least hopefully motivate some of these people, so people who are in the plat range and diamond range and master range want to keep playing and want to not decay too much, right?
Yeah, Aether's Valera comes out and says Aether. That's right, the heartthrob of Heroes right there, live and in person.
I don't want that nickname.
You see this guy's face? It's too late. What's going on, Bahama? He says, would you maybe consider something of a lesser decay in the lower ranks? Like if you were above Plat 3, it's points per week, and below that, it would be points per month, maybe?
Oh, I think that seems reasonable, because like it maybe not forces is the wrong word, but like encourages people to get on to play. Like I'm really busy sometimes. Like I lost rank in Overwatch because I couldn't play in a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
But like a month is enough time that even if you're busy, you have enough time to like get on and play a game to like maintain that rank.
Yeah. I mean, I like that idea. I think it's definitely it would be a step in the right direction if you're going to institute rank decay. I can see how there could be a potential argument to not have rank decay at a certain point, but that would be arguable. Like I just threw out Plat 3 just kind of to give some kind of metric. But I think whatever Blizzard decides to do, they have to keep in mind what the point of having a rank is to begin with. It's supposed to signify a certain level of skill. And to have that, I feel like you need to have rank decay to not only A, give that rank more definition, but B, to give it more meaning. Like if I'm Diamond 1, and I know if I stop playing for a while, I'll move down. When you see a Diamond 1, it's like, wow, that person has to play consistently enough to be there. Because I think right now the common level of understanding is like, yeah, you might be Diamond 1, but what does Diamond 1 really mean as far as skill level? It's like you could be Diamond 1 and have no game sense whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it. I've seen it live and in person.
I'd be more scared coming into this season, because I think this was the season, I believe, I don't really remember perfectly, but I think this is the one where they said we'd place you closer to your MMR, quote unquote MMR, right? And so that means like people are gonna get above the Diamond 3, and this is so I think we're gonna feel almost the full effect of not having a rank decay, right? Because like imagine if you're somebody preseason who was like, oh man, I was 4K MMR preseason rank 1. They come in, they're immediately master. They're like, I don't even know what any of these characters do. I lost 10 games and I immediately got master. You know what I mean? Like that's
right.
crazy. Yeah. And then he'll ruin the game. He'll like for those 10 games that he played. There might be people who are like, you know, I might be Diamond 3 range, Diamond 4 range, Diamond 5 range, and then they're going to feel the effect of this guy coming in and being like, well, I just got master, thanks guys, and then just walk on out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, that's like a legitimate issue in this game.
Garashu, let me just walk right up to him.
Yeah, like, what does this guy do? Flips and kills him, and he's like, that's busted. I never want to play this game again, you know.
AFK.
Delete.
I'm going back to lane to play my Gazlo.
Yep.
Thomas said, people in gold, silver, bronze still AFK, but a month would be fair. I would agree with that. The more I'm thinking about it, I think having tiers of rank decay would be good. What the actual
as long as it's
metrics...
on the like population bell curve, right? The more population that is in one group, the less that it should need the decay, right?
Yeah, because I feel like people want solo queue in Hero League because they want rank to mean something. They want to be like, I played myself and I made it to rank X. Like that was my goal. I made it there this season. And I think that's a lot of drive for people to play the game. But if there's no rank decay, it's just like, I got it and now I'm just done and I can just step away now. But when I do come back, Lord help my teammates who have been playing actively, because I might have no clue what I'm doing.
Okay, maybe I didn't explain the bell curve idea as good as I could have, but no, I don't think we should have rank boosting for people who haven't played the game in a time, just to remove the outliers of the bell curve, like people who are really like low bronze, to get them more to the middle of the pack. No, that's a crazy idea. That's some communist level stuff, right, guys? We don't we don't do that here.
Communism enters the Nexus. What the
That's right. No.
With Stukov. We're on the same page.
Got him.
That's what we infected the Nexus with.
Got him.
You thought it was
Oh
the
my
whatever the heck.
We're all
Is
the
that what
red
it's
team
supposed
now.
Dang.
Oh, got him!
That's
Got
so
him! It
funny.
took a little bit. It took a little bit.
So I had to picture the full effect. Everyone comes into a game and they're like, "We can't fight each other. We're all on the same team," and that's it. And that's just the entire game they have to play. Dang, I like that.
But there's a wait. Why assume? Why assume that the people that are low bronze don't play it? I don't know.
I think they do.
I'm sure they.
I think when you have nothing to lose, right? You're like,
you're just that 80s renegade X cap. I don't know what a bronze game looks like.
Honestly, I'm scared. Like I like see some gold level play, and if I ever saw like actual full on bronze fire level play, I feel like all you would see is just like everyone loads in, 4 people immediately disconnect. One guy just like he just unmounts for some reason in the fountain and then decides to walk into lane, like using half of his abilities at nothing. Like I don't know what it looks like, honestly. That's how
I mean, is it more mechanical that leaves people in bronze or game sense?
It's both. I think it's half and half, right? You have 50% of the people that like want to do well, but either have like low mechanical ability or low like game IQ, right? That they just like they don't understand that like you don't actually have to like you don't have to kill
what
all
about
the
general
4.
IQ?
Well, maybe that's part of it, but you know, like the people, right? The people that are doing camp or pushing lane when it's like the other half of the team is on core and the other team is team wiped, but they like still need to do that last camp just in case.
Yeah.
And then the other half is like people that don't care that it's Hero League. They just don't want to play QM, but they just pick whatever they want, play however they want, and have like no regard to it being like a ranked competitive setting. Because that happens a lot in like bronze, silver, gold. I think once you get to like plat and diamond, like people there are like want to be competitive for the for the most part. But at the lower ranks, it's just like people have it's like they don't know why they're queuing Hero League instead of QM. They just want to.
I would be legit tilted at that. I'm not even gonna lie. If someone was like, "Oh, I just feel like playing Gazlo," okay, go to quick match. Like, what do you go to unranked? Yeah. What are you doing?
I mean, all the time. Don't tell me what to play. I'm like, well, we don't have a tank or a healer, so
like, yeah, I don't. Yeah. Why waste your time and ours? That would be. I don't know. So I'm not sure what changes they need to make, but
just as like a slight head up, I think you may have a Discord message.
I believe we are ready for our time-honored guests, TBH. Let me add them in.
Excuse the future technical difficulties if anything like that comes up.
Yeah, because I gotta like move the windows around and stuff, so this is gonna look a little weird. But gotta do it. Because I'm good at this, and I know what I'm doing. All right.
So audience, if you have any questions.
Yeah, we're about to bring on
Yeah, always think up your questions before we bring these people on, guys. I want like 8 million questions in the chat here. We will answer every single one because we are HeroesHype live. The actual HeroesHype has a delay. We don't. We're live.
For us 3 or the guests. You can start with us, but then think of ones for our guests also. You can have 2 questions.
Murloc babies come from eggs.
What?
I got a Murloc at PAX, actually. We went to the Tespa party, and I won a Murloc.
All right, I'm about to add them now. It's going to look weird because I got to do all these window shenanigans.
Okay. Hi, Akiwoche.
Hello.
Is that the young Khroen?
That is me.
Hi, Khroen.
Oh,
how's it
He
going?
doesn't have a webcam, does he?
No.
Nope.
I got that budget computer.
That's bad.
All right, let me. I gotta make one more window.
Maybe don't
Argy has
answer that
Oh
question.
my God,
Don't answer that question. Don't answer that
What-
question.
what-
He's gonna spam your Twitter
why?
with whatever you say.
I don't know why Argy's on this random campaign to just torture my life.
Again. With the
Again.
gingerbread gazebo, right? It had died off a little bit. Now it's back.
But now it's back. Dude, I don't know how people do this on the fly, man. I gotta like. this is-
Argy, maybe you should dress up as gingerbread gazebo for BlizzCon.
Nope.
How are you guys doing today?
Chilling.
Yeah, you guys
Pretty
doing
good. Just came out of a spicy scrim block, before the open tournament. Later on, so feeling good, warmed up. Yeah.
Here you go.
How about yourself? How are y'all doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
Good.
Man, really excited to have you on here. Sorry, I'm not really good at multitasking. I've got to like resize all these windows and stuff. So.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Nah, man, I'm really excited to poke your brain for a little bit. One thing that I said about you guys, when I first heard of your roster, when I was like, this is a team that obviously has potential, but I'm the first one to say this. You guys, I called you guys the past and future kings of Heroes. You remember when I told you that, Khroen?
I did. I do remember that. Yeah.
Because I just think that name fits. Because you guys have a very diverse lineup. You guys have a good mixture of new faces to the layman as well as veterans like yourself. How did you guys come together? That's one thing I'm curious to learn.
Well, it was, I guess, kind of weird after like all the HGC roster locks, I guess, finished, and because I know like myself and McIntyre, we were looking for teams because like of unfortunate circumstances for us, and I guess at that point it kind of came down to trying to see who wanted to play and who was going to be dedicated and willing to improve, work hard in the open, and get back into the HGC or get to the HGC. Because I myself very much want to compete and want to compete for a long time. So basically, it was a lot of seeing who was available, and McIntyre was available, and Arthlon and Ishbu and BBJ, and I think they're all pretty outstanding players. So just kind of came together through a couple weeks of tryouts, trying a couple other people out, but at the end we decided on this roster.
I would definitely say y'all have been doing well, to say the very least.
Doing all right. Doing all right.
I see Khroen as BBJ twice. I like your Khroen.
We're doing it.
Good.
This is live. This is the definition of.
I didn't realize that you guys I knew you guys might be close, might be friends. I didn't know y'all were actually twins.
Maybe identical twins.
Khroen actually plays the carry and support on our team. Playing both
you
at once.
multi-box. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, I'm impressed.
It's a little rough.
Hey,
But,
you guys heard that here on
work.
HeroesHype Live. It's the first time been revealed. There's actually only 4 players on HeroesHearth, so there you go.
That's
Yep.
how easy NA is, man.
Argy
Jeez.
says that since no one has actually seen BBJ's face, that they could be twins.
I've seen it actually.
Either has.
I know.
He's the
I
only
know what
one.
he looks
Wow.
like. That's right.
Oh,
I know what
wow.
he looks like.
All right, I got it. BBJ, you are no longer a Khroen clone. I think I've got it as good as I'm gonna be able to get it. So
Looks good. Looks
in a
good.
I'm proud of
production
you.
value. Thanks, man. Thanks, man. But yeah, you guys have definitely made waves, to say the very least. To the extent, you guys have recently been sponsored. You were once hold it down, then held it down, and you guys kept on. You kept the H and moved over to HeroesHearth. How's it been to how's it been since you guys have been picked up by HeroesHearth, and how's that relationship been going?
Well, I think it's really good. Like, we were looking for sponsors, and I know it's kind of like there's still HGC teams that aren't sponsored. So, like, we knew that we have some pretty, like, I guess, marketable or brandable, like, people on our team, like with myself and McIntyre and like Arthlon as well. We have like a lot to bring to an organization, and the guys on HeroesHearth approached us, and we met with them, and they're really, really cool, and they have like this sort of the same goals as we do on HeroesHearth. So I think that's one of the most important things. Yeah, BBJ, how do you like it?
Dude, their website's actually insane. Like I never heard of this
It's so
website.
smooth. It's so smooth.
It is
It just has a ton of stuff on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like really
Yeah,
invested
that
in HOTS, so that has to like feel nice that it's like a brand that actually cares about the game and like sort of like cares about the people that are involved in it as well.
Yeah, definitely. They're very like close because in some orgs like there's gonna be like the upper management is like not too close to the players, but they're definitely like this is their first team, so they're like very working like we're working very closely with us. Want to make sure we have everything that we need, and I guess like vice versa, if we have something that we can do for them. Like we're very I guess close in the beginnings of this, and I personally really like it.
Yeah, for those you don't know, and you guys as sponsors, correct me if I'm wrong. HeroesHearth is a website that is in one part social media for Heroes of the Storm, and in another part a source of information. And it has a really cool interface where you can create builds. You can see what builds are out there that have been made by other people. There are notable figures in the community that have highlighted accounts like Khroen, BBJ, all the sponsored players, and other folks in the scene. Bakery has been a strong proponent of HeroesHearth. So if you wanted to figure out or hear what their opinions are on what makes a strong hero, what makes a strong build, that is an excellent resource to go to. And they care about the community. I've spoken with Workhorse and BP and gotten to know them. They're super cool. I hung out with them for a little while at BlizzCon, so I was really excited to hear that they reached out to sponsor a team and they selected a very viable one, to say the very least. But in both in their own ways, protagonists of the scene. So I think it's a perfect mix. I'm really glad to see it turn out like that.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I have a question for Khroen. Moving from GFE to HeroesHearth, where you were still kind of like under contract for GFE as a streamer. So I'm sure you probably can't talk a lot of the specifics behind that, but was that transition a good one? Was there a lot of trouble with that, or
from GFE roster to their stream team?
Well, I know, like the whole process, right? From
the whole
roster
process.
stream team
Okay.
to then going to HeroesHearth, right?
I mean the people on GFE, like the organization management side, like I'm very close with them. Like I was, like on this last iteration of GFE, like before the K1 King Caffeine, like I was the longest standing player on that rosters, and so I've been with them, or I was rather with them for a while, and so I was very close. And they just kind of didn't want to see me like just out to dry, like okay, Khroen, just like bye. But they're like, oh, we'll let you like on our stream team, and I was like still contracted, so it wasn't that. I mean, I guess like honestly, it felt kind of weird a little bit, like not in a bad weird, just like in a different weird, because I remember like the first HGC match with the new Gale First roster, I was like watching it, was like, this is really weird to be watching GFE, like, I don't know.
I felt like a girlfriend had broke up with you, but it's like, you can still be friends, right? You know?
Maybe a little bit, I haven't quite thought of it that way, but it's just kind of funny because I'm like, I am friends with a lot of my ex-girlfriends, so I mean, I'm friends with GFE too. It kind of worked out that way. No, but and then the process to HeroesHearth, like I was obviously like still close with GoForce, and they're like, yeah, you have an opportunity. Like they're all about like they just want like what's best for me. So that transition was pretty smooth, and I'm happy where I am now. So
yeah, I'm really glad to hear that though, because like in the past, you know, we've actually had other organizations who come in the scene that kind of like expect, you know, serious buyouts. You know, that we won't let you move to another team even though you're not playing for us if you don't buy out our roster, or buy out the players' contracts, right? So I guess that's really good for GFE that they kind of like let you go and continue to play, right?
Definitely, yeah. Pretty, I guess, like, yeah, props to GFE for sure. Like, there are a lot of respect for that org and a lot of people there, so yeah, nothing but much loving. Good things to say about them.
BBJ, I have a question of sorts for you. You know, HeroesHearth is a very talented roster, and it has names whose reputations precede them. Khroen, McIntyre, and Arthelon. To the layman that, you know, isn't in tune with the competitive scene in North America as much as we are, that would just show up and watch the HGC Open Division or the HGC, they may have never heard of BBJ or Ishbu joining the roster. I think you guys have definitely, you guys more than hold your own. You make plays just along with everyone else. But to those people that may not know who you are as much, do you want to give us some background on how long you've been playing, what some of your competitive tenure is, and then just introduce yourself in a way?
I've been playing HOTS for like almost a year now, I think. And then, I don't know, I started on CAD as Encore, which was an interesting roster.
I remember, yeah.
Ethics.
Yeah, Ethics, Talion, Misoy's Lurd. And we actually, without like being hyped up at all, we made it to the finals of like the HGC qualifiers, but then we lost to Superstars. We got stomped out. And then after that, I don't know, it was a long break. And then I wanted to keep playing. So I knew Soy from Katas, and then I'd seen Imported play, so I stole traded from them.
GG.
I mean, everybody.
He's not even ashamed of this.
I know.
Huh?
I mean, I
Dude,
hear BBJ's like
I'm ruthless.
Yeah, I hear
People
that.
in Open are too
Yeah.
soft, man.
Yeah.
There's no locked
God
rosters
bless,
in
God
Open.
bless BBJ.
You gotta
There's
take-
no
you gotta
there's
take
no
one,
limit
right?
to there's no limit to roster changes in Open. I mean, there
You
is,
want to
but
play with friends or you want to win?
yeah.
Hey,
I'm not
he
here to
said that
win, man.
multiple times. Yeah, he's here to win.
Ruthless.
True.
And then, so yeah, I mean, we played on LFM. We did really well until one tournament where it all came crumbling down, kind of. We lost to Even in Death, so we didn't get to go to the Crucible. That was rough. I blame Aether for that one. He was our coach at the time.
Oh, what
GG.
the hell?
Ooh, uppercut. Uppercut.
Sold me out right there. You know what? I was gonna ask you how you felt about that series. You know, really get in on you on that one, but I decided not to because that would be mean.
Yeah,
And then you just went ahead
that
and
would be
threw
me.
me under the bus. Yeah, it would, wouldn't it?
How is it down there under the bus, Aether?
It hurts, man. It hurts. I thought we were friends, but I guess not.
And then after we lost that, and then doing like the roster change, I mean, no HCC teams were really looking to change supports, so I was kind of just looking to make another Open team with better players and better work ethic, I guess, than last time. Is the goal.
I'd say mission accomplished, all things considered on the front.
Yeah, it was a bit intimidating, honestly, like starting out on this roster. I was like, damn, I feel like, I mean, nobody's going to be like, oh, Khroen or McIntyre or Arthalon should be replaced. It was like, damn, Twitch Chat's going to hate on me if I fuck up.
Well, yeah, that's something that I definitely wanted to ask you about because, like I said, a lot of people may not be familiar with your history in the competitive scene. So I think in a lot of ways there is a spotlight on you and Ishbu in particular. Like I said, you have definitely been handling yourself well under pressure. But Khroen, as something of a veteran here in the hero scene, did you impart any advice to BBJ and Ishbu? Did you see some of yourself in them as far as like their rise in the competitive scene? You know, how did that conversation go?
I think a little bit. Like I identify with the fact of wanting to, I guess, just like make it in esports and be a professional player and like that drive, and that's something that I respect and I would like expect nothing less from teammates of mine. So, I'm not really sure if I really like imparted wisdom. Like obviously when we like go to play games and like go over stuff, like that's when I can come in with my previous knowledge of like, okay, like we should do this or this, like look for this, watch out for that, like things like that. Like I don't think I really went over like in depth or like, but like beyond that, I guess that's sort of where that.
You didn't like give him some of your like org experience or like look out for girls who just want to use you to entertain. Like, you didn't tell me any of that stuff.
Whatever. I suppose we'll get to that point when it comes, if
Still
it
young,
comes.
right?
Yeah.
When you get of age, BBJ, that's when he'll tell you.
Nah.
Me and Khroen haven't had the
When
talk
you're
yet.
old enough.
We
yeah.
learned the truth
Soon,
now.
soon.
Ishbu in the chat said Khroen's too modest. He taught me a ton. See, I knew it. I knew Khroen. He put on the sweater and he had the cob pipe and he just like puts one foot up on the coffee table. It's like, now son, when you
Oh man.
when
don't know
you're
about
out there playing, This is the mindset you need to be in, because in my day, like, I'm telling.
Yeah, when I was your age,
See?
boo,
See?
you know.
I knew it. Hey, thanks.
Even though you're only like a year older than me.
Maybe I did stuff like without realizing, just in like talking as a team, like maybe it's like stuff that I've said that I just kind of like, okay, here's like what it is. Like maybe that comes off as, I mean, it's good if it comes off as like some advice or like better knowledge or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, so you said you gonna learn today is what? Okay, that's good.
Khroen, how does it feel, though, to be seen as something of a veteran? Because, you know, I remember... Khroen, see, you, for me, all the milestones and things that really stick out for me, they generally revolve around you now that I'm sitting there thinking about it. Like, I remember talking to you in Twitch chat, like in whispers, when you're on Afro Doge. And I was like, hey, man, you keep doing your thing, you're gonna freaking blow up. Lo and behold, you blow up, and then
a little bit later,
right? You get on the international stage. You wrote the twit longer about that, and I remember I said going into that experience, people liked Khroen, but after they saw you play and got to know you, they ended up loving Khalif.
I remember that stuck with me. That comment that was worded very well. Thank you for that.
And I think it's the truth. I think you really endeared yourself to the community. And it stayed that way ever since. And in that way, I do feel like you can be regarded as a veteran. How do you feel about that transition of, a large part of your work ethic is like you want to be the best you can be. You always want to be climbing, but now you have enough history to where you can look back on what really amounts to your legacy. How does that factor into your continued work ethic?
I don't know. That's a good question. It's really weird because I don't feel like that much of a veteran, honestly. I guess because I've really only been playing, professionally, like on the competitive level for like a year and a half, I guess, give or take, like a couple of months, and that's like a relatively short amount of time. Like the amount of time that I want to be doing this is for like as long as I can. Like I know there's some players, like esports careers, that are like even like shorter than mine. That's like weird for me to think about because it's something that like I really do want to be able to do for my whole life. Like it's definitely my passion. I can't think of a life right now for me where I wouldn't be pursuing esports. So I definitely like I'm thankful that I have this opportunity, and yeah, back to the original question. I don't feel as much like a veteran. I still feel as though I have a lot of room to grow as a player. I think everyone always does. Has a lot of room to grow as a player. So yeah, that's that.
I think we all appreciate your modesty and just how humble you are as a person, right? But you got to think back in whenever these first roster cuts came in, I don't think anybody could have imagined, people like Insomnia, Faye, and Khroen, people in their minds that at the start of HGC, that was kind of like staple people. Like they were characters, and like, no, I'm not saying like you guys are characters by any, but I'm saying like in their mind, the HGC narrative, right? You guys are important people. It almost felt a little Game of Thronesy to have these characters get cut out before the end of their story, and so I guess to some people, they were like, a lot of people were pretty upset or distraught over some of these changes that went in. Did you get any like more people reaching out to you when that cut had happened from GFE? Do you have any personal like DMs that you don't like want to share or something like that?
I actually, I mean, the amount of people who reached out to me after that announcement was actually insane. I could never would have expected that. Like there was so many people, because I was like streaming during when the announcement happened, and so there's like a bunch of people like just in chat, and I got to gauge all of their reactions, and so many people actually, funnily enough, like I wasn't expecting this, but people said, hey Khroen, like I'll support you and I'll continue to support you, and I supported GFE because of you. And that really like made me, I was like sort of taking me aback a little bit, because like while I recognize like that was like sort of the person I strive to be, like I strive to make an impact on people, and a positive one at that, like be someone that people could look up to and enjoy watching and just think like, yeah, like I'm proud to be like a fan or like to support that person. And seeing that I accomplished that was like part humbling, part like, wait, is that really happening? Like, are people really like, I don't know. So it's very weird.
Did
In that
BBJ
sense,
reach
but
out to you? Did he?
Oh, I messaged him
Any
the
messages?
instant. I think I had no. I can
Come here,
check
baby.
my-
I
You don't
got
wanna
you.
team
Come here,
up?
Khroen. I got you, Khroen. Don't worry.
Come here, BB. Come here, BB.
pretty much.
I'm the
Yeah, but,
ruthless man in Hots, or in Open, I guess. I was
Yeah, no.
messaging all the free
Oh,
agents.
oh
BBJ
god.
He was,
the
I-
savage.
He was
I-
persistent. I respect it. You just hit me up like, hey, you know what's going on? You wanna... Yeah, no, that was good. Like I liked that. I like it.
Dedication, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I mean, it shows that someone like really wants something, and like in esports, you need to have that want. You need to have that drive. So.
Yeah.
I'm just a young man out here trying to get carried.
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah, whatever. I mean, I'm just like, at first I was like, okay, I pictured BBJ as this guy, like, everybody come here, I'm gonna take care of all y'all. And now I picture him as like that kind of greasy looking old guy with a suit
That's
jacket
me.
on. Like, you wanna
That's
play
me.
hot still, don't you? Come on here, let me help you out there, buddy. You know, like, ooh, scummy.
BBJ's on his grind, man. I respect that. I think
Yeah.
half of success
Awesome.
is
That's
just
the
being
hustle.
persistent. So
Yeah,
I love seeing and hearing about that kind of stuff. But one thing I'm getting, BBJ seems like he's the crack up of the team. He seems to be the one to slide those jokes in on the downbeat and then get everybody yucking it up. Is he part of the levity of you guys' overall chemistry?
Yeah, I would say personally that he's a solid addition to the chemistry portion of our team. BBJ's he does get us like in a good mood, get us laughing, and helps with that, which I think is it's really important. It's really good for team chemistry to have, I guess, different dynamics that all work together and work fluently. And so, yeah, that's what I'd say about that.
I make sure that we don't take Open Division too seriously. You know, that's my goal.
You've never left Open. Why are you so
Yeah,
cocky?
that's why.
You've only been in Open. God.
That's the
Well-
meme, man. That's the meme.
That is the meme.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I want to ask you in particular. Khroen is one of the most humble guys I've ever known at all, or have seen. So I know he's gonna take his trip through the Open Division with a measure of humility. But you gotta feel like, on an objective sense, you going around round two of these Open Division Cups, and it's just like, well, I mean, it's more
Let's
or
just
less.
say you guys being here is like a breath of fresh air, right? It really brought a lot more of the competitiveness, and a lot more people are watching now because of you guys being here too. So
So I guess my question is like, how do you remain objective and sharp going into some of these phases of the Open Division where it could be very easy to let your guard down because you're just like, well, I'm just gonna walk through these rounds and get to the crucible. Like, how do you guys remain focused in those situations?
I mean, we kind of don't. Yesterday in our game, Arthalon was sitting on our base shooting out owls at certain points. I don't know. I mean, we take the finals pretty seriously, and some of the semifinals. And if we see a good team in rounds before that we recognize the players, then we'll take the draft seriously and
ooh, that's a
try
good
to
question.
keep focused before.
So what, BBJ, I'll ask you, what team do you guys like, maybe not so much fear, but I guess like respect the most? Like, which one that when you guys come against, you're like, all right, let's get this out of the way. Like, let's take this one seriously. Is there a team for you guys like that in Open?
I think it's just donkeys and imported. I don't think anybody besides them.
I think those are the main two. And to add on to that, it's like, yeah, sometimes I think I sort of, I wouldn't say frustrates people to be an Open Division, but it's kind of like, it's something of a feeling, like, you know how it feels when you have to like do it like a chore. I don't know if I'm really related to that, but I feel as though like sometimes some people might think of it that way. And I mean, personally, like I try my best to like keep team sort of like on track, and I know it's hard, like, because even this happened when I was on Gale Force as well. Like when we would scrim like open teams, like people's like brains would just like turn off like in mid scrims because it was just like pretty easy, and like it's like a kind of, it's a bad mentality to get into, but it's a really easy one to fall into, if that makes sense. So like I think that my team right now, like although we do get, I guess, like distracted by that sometimes. We do an okay job and are improving at like really coming together and like focusing like when it really counts. Like as we said, like when we have a match that we're like, okay, like these players are like going to be like pretty decent, then like we can buckle down and like and play. And but I think transitioning into like the finals or like playoffs rather than open division and then into the Crucible, like we're going to be taking things like very seriously.
It kind of feels like a lose-lose sometimes for us, because if we take the team super seriously, then we get flamed in Twitch chat for like, oh, these pro players beating up on these poor amateurs trying to have fun, and then we like have a troll fun game, and it's like, oh, look at these jerks just not even respecting their opponents.
So then last night, someone did ask in chat. When you guys faced animals last night, did you guys take them relatively seriously? Because it was like the Ebros team. I'll ask BBJ first so we can get the savagery out of the way, and then I'll ask.
Fine.
Because I did. Oh my god, he doesn't even remember.
I don't remember.
There were some people in. I did see McIntyre in the Twitch chat. He was chatting, watching those games. So I don't know if you guys took that match because it was relatively early on. It was like technically your guys' first game because you had a bye. Did you guys take that one seriously or?
We knew the players, so we drafted somewhat seriously, I think.
Yeah.
And, I think we kind of got stompy leads in both those games, so the endings of them probably weren't the cleanest, but we definitely took like the early game and up into the point of us having like a lead where we could kind of just feel like we could autopilot the rest of the game.
That's the nicest I've actually ever heard BBJ. I literally thought he was going to say animals who I don't even want to comment on this.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like they're not like the team that's like playing they're not role, in tournaments, right? Like there's a difference between like
I respect Toby for sure.
Yeah.
I think they're
one support player to another. I like that. Okay.
Yeah, Toby's a very good player. They have a few really good players on that roster, so yeah, it definitely comes down to.
Wouldn't go that far.
There
it is. There it is.
That's the BBJ we know.
Well,
so like, what would you guys say are the big differences between like amateur teams and pro teams?
I think most of it is game knowledge, knowing what to do when Heroes of the Storm isn't a game where in a competitive setting you can just carry yourself on purely mechanics with how much the game has been growing and people have been growing over the past like couple of years, because the people who have a couple of years head start, they've already been like mechanics are what they've already like came to this game with. They've had 2 years, like 3 years to learn how to play like the game, and that's the most important thing. Like you saw teams like Cloud9, I guess, a couple years back, just like dominating everything because they understood like the game like far more than other people, so they could just win fights in pretty dominant fashion, I guess. So yeah, I would say the main difference is knowing how to play, like how to draft, that kind of stuff, and that's really what really sets it apart. Like obviously, like that being said, you could take like an amateur team who understands the game pretty well, and like a professional team who like has a disadvantaged draft, like still win just based off of mechanics. But I think that it's weighted very much towards the game knowledge and like shot calling and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, the difference in drafts is pretty insane because we scrim mostly HGC teams, and then we come to open, and the drafts are like very different for us a lot of the time. And like I don't think there's that much mechanical play difference like between some of the pro teams and some of the amateur teams. Like on an individual level.
When you say that, it's because you're probably the one's the least mechanically proficient, right?
Huh? Yeah. No, I got Challenger in League, and I am awful mechanically, and I got Challenger in League. So like this game's easy,
God bless.
There you go.
I want to ask you guys and also those in the chat a question. I'm gonna ask the question and then I'm gonna give my reasoning. So it might feel like something of a monologue, but I really want to make sure everyone understands the nature that I'm trying to get at here. This is kind of high level. So, question is, do you feel the HGC Open Division does enough to incentivize players to put in the time that's necessary to make it through the Crucible? My reasoning for this question is, there is a lot of really strong talent in the North American amateur scene right now. The difference between phase 1 and phase 2 is night and day. Like there are a lot of really strong teams and a lot of favorite teams. HeroesHearth to make it through the Crucible. But as we go into the next year of HGC, there could be other players that are on HGC rosters now that may not be there next year. Either they lose in a Crucible or whatever. Does the Open Division offer enough to players of this caliber to continuing sharpening their craft, honing their skills, to potentially make it back in HGC? Because I personally don't think it does. And I think, thank God, players like Khroen have the passion and drive to be like, I still want to like continue to be the best I can be. A lesser person would be like, I'm out of HGC now. I'm just done, and then that talent goes effectively out the door. Do you think that Blizzard could incentivize players more with either financial incentive or something to make the Open Division more enticing, or do you feel it's at a good place right now? I guess I know it's a lot to throw at, but I guess I would start with Khroen first.
Yeah, okay, so honestly, like, after being removed from GFE and not finding my way into another HGC team, like, I considered, like, taking 6 months and not playing Open and just streaming and then trying to, like, try out for a team or see what happens, like, after that little break, but at the end of the day, like, I decided that I needed to, like, I guess keep warm competitively. Like, a 6-month break, like, it might be fine, but it also might not, and I didn't really want to take that risk. That being said, plainly, I do think that there's a lot more that could be done to incentivize players to want to participate in the Open Division, because like someone like won't be able to like live on just, even if they won every single Open tournament, like that's not like something you can live off of. And like I personally am in a fortunate situation where I've been able to like been saving up a little bit from the past year of playing competitively, so like I don't have to worry about that like too much. But with someone who really wants to make it into the HGC, say they dedicate like 6 months, whatever, to play for the Open, and then say they don't qualify for the HGC, like there must be a really not good feeling at that point, because you feel like you have to risk a lot to do that with how the Open Division is right now. And at the end of the day, it's just if you're willing to think that's going to pay off or not. And exactly what Blizzard could do to do that, like I'm not sure. Maybe like throw a little bit more money. I don't know if that's like the best or easy. Like I guess it's the easiest fix, but I don't know if it's necessarily the best one. I'm not really sure. But yeah.
Yeah, I did do that, Khroen. It didn't feel great.
Yep.
I think the change, like I think there could have been some good changes. I don't remember what they are because I was upset when I was thinking all these great changes after we had lost in last split. But this time around, they made it so that like first place is worth relative to the like second and third and fourth less points. So now instead of teams coming in and just winning like the last 2 cups or something like that, you can't really do that anymore because you might not even qualify top 8. So I don't know if that's good or bad, because I know some like players that like if they weren't in HGC, they would take like 3 months off or whatever and then try to do like the last few weeks with just the best team they could find with comp, and they could at least make it into Crucible probably, but
right,
they might not even make the playoffs with the current system.
Because like the point disparity is like pretty high between like the top 4 or 5 teams, right, and everybody else.
Yeah, I think it's like the top 4 is all like 300 to 400, and then everybody after that's like 110, 120.
Yeah, if you come in and get like top 4 twice, then you basically are guaranteed into the finals.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure if that's true anymore.
No, not anymore. You used to be able to, but now because teams get like for like 8th and even 16th, you get so many points now that you would have to come in like first twice. I think anything below first or second, if you came in twice, you wouldn't get in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really cool to get you guys' input on it, because you guys are both uniquely positioned to offer more context than you know the average person just watching. So I really appreciate you guys throwing your insight there. And looking towards the chat, Ishbu said not at all. I don't know if that was in response to the topic or not.
Yeah, it was. He did.
Elfinari said no, or my dorms team would actually make it to the cups. I think that says a lot
There's a lot of dorms
yeah.
teams that don't play in anything other than dorm, is what
Right.
it seems like. Also,
Mhm.
That
you-
Yeah, that was my dorms team like a couple dorms ago. When I
Yep.
was still doing that, my team. I mean, there was an open division back then, but they didn't even want to like play in anything
Right.
because they're just like, yeah, we just come back and be good for dorms, and lo and behold, we
Yay.
lost. So
do you
I was like,
think
guys, gotta
that?
play.
Do you think that there's enough things in the amateur scene to like support teams like that whole sort of like process of teams and players like going from Hero League to amateur teams to like better amateur teams to like where you guys are now, or not even like the financial part of it, just like do you think that there's that framework there?
HeroesHype Temple Storm.
What do you mean by
Well,
framework?
because like I mean, like,
exactly?
because I know that like for a lot of people, like, and for a lot of competitive teams, other than the Open, that's the only tournament that they play in, right? Like, because
Mhm.
the idea that like scrims are better. So, like, what can teams do, like, in order to like have that tournament mentality? Because it's different between tournaments and scrims.
HeroesHype Temple Storm.
Yeah, it's a weird position because like there's like HeroesHype every week, which generally like even the other top open teams are in, like imported in.
Sorry, what tournament did you
Donkeys.
say that was?
I believe it was HeroesHype Tempo Storm every Wednesday.
I love this guy.
That was a good one.
And then there was even like there was Arcane 8 before, and then there was Bloodlust, and Bloodlust was like Bloodlust and Arcane 8 were both kind of they were just a one-time thing, I guess.
Right.
They're not reoccurring, but like I don't know, you have to give up like at least for us, 'cause we have to either choose between playing open teams or playing like HEC teams and scrims.
Yeah.
And like I don't know, it's so hard to. I think there's a balance in there of playing in like some of them, but not all. But I don't know. If it's easier to just say like we'll just scrim.
Right.
It's easier schedule to
Yeah.
be on.
Yeah.
Ishbu said motivation through Crucible is all self-driven. I would agree with that. Like you guys have alluded to, it's high-level heroes in a lot of ways is a mental game, or the mechanical skill that can be there, but if you don't have the game sense or the coordination with your team, you're gonna get dumpstered no matter what. Margie says, I think there needs to be more financial backing. I would agree with that. Decries, hello, by the way, says, open divisions should be prize-based unless the sponsor is privately obtained. I believe Blizzard shouldn't focus to get open teams sponsored unless they are consistently a Crucible competitor.
I mean, frankly, there's not even enough incentive. That's why HGC teams aren't even sponsored, because there's not enough incentive to get them, let alone like open teams. Like, if you're an open team, like I guess our team on HeroesHearth is a very rare case, but definitely the average, or even like the 99% of open teams, I don't think, maybe like 95% of open teams probably won't be sponsored, or like even think about at least at this point in Heroes of the Storm, in the competitive scene, it's just very unrealistic.
So I have a question for you, Khroen, and I guess BBJ also. You guys coming into this, what was it like in terms of like I don't want any specifics in case you guys can't really say that stuff, but like kind of negotiations, kind of with HeroesHearth, right? Because they must have probably said multiple times like you guys right now at this point are still just an open team. So did a lot of your guys sway or power in terms of like what you guys could get out of that team or get out of the sponsorship, or was that not really too much of an issue since maybe they already saw you guys as a potential HGC team?
I mean, obviously we are, just because of where we're at, we're not like as valuable as an HGC team just because of the fact that it is open division. But that being said, they recognize that we are very likely to be successful in the open division and into the Crucible and past into the HGC. So I guess I'll let that answer speak for itself.
Now I got
We
one
actually
more
did a
follow-up. One more
poll. We did a poll.
Wait,
We did a
wait.
poll.
Get out of
I
here.
want to do one more follow-up question before we get to that one
Okay.
follow-up.
Okay.
So then what made you guys decide on HeroesHearth now as opposed to waiting to maybe when you get into HGC, right? Because maybe you could have gotten better offers, hypothetically. No offense, HeroesHearth.
I have an idea on that personally.
I think to answer this, because there's, how do I even answer? There's a difference between us now and us potentially in the HGC, and HeroesHearth recognizes that, so things might change in that sort of I guess like contract, like basically into the HGC, then like we'll see how things go like from there, and yeah.
I wanted to talk. Either cut me off. All right. So the thing is, for like all hot sponsors right now, like sponsoring the bottom 3 HGT teams is just as risky as sponsoring the top open team.
Good point.
It's like, I mean, they're like out. I mean, maybe Lag F's safe now, but like Superstars and Even in Death, the odds of them being in next split probably lower than us, I'd say, arguably. And I don't know.
But then, so my question is more so focused on why you guys didn't necessarily like hold out until you got that HGC spot, right? Like
We were just tired of being hold it down, you know?
it's like we need a name change.
I mean, obviously, like people say like this is what we do like full time. So having something right now is, you know, like there's pros and cons to it. Having something now is better than nothing now. But like maybe theoretically there could have been something better once we got HGC. But I guess like in our talks with HeroesHearth, I think we were pretty confident that we would still like be happy. Like say if/when we get HGC, like we'd still be happy with them. So.
Well,
Also, the fact that they have an amazing website, like, oh my goodness,
They do.
HeroesHearth.com.
It is actually really good though.
I was gonna say that because I think it comes down to building relationships. I think one of the biggest aspects of, you know, having a successful sponsorship from the business side, like the org side of it, is having notable faces. And Khroen, McIntyre, Arthlon, very notable faces. BBJ, a hilarious personality. Definitely going to be someone that's going to be on a lot of people's radars. Ishbu's cool too. So if you have these personalities,
That's all they got.
And that Ishbu guy.
I've never directly interacted with Ishbu, but everything I've ever seen about the guy,
He's a nice guy.
right. So it was Ishbu. I'm sorry, dude. I'm not trying to.
No flame. No flame.
No, dude.
I don't even know
sorry.
where you're trying to go with this
Flame.
anymore.
But what I'm
like,
saying is, HeroesHearth as a website, it is a source of information. So why not get notable faces that could generate content that bring more traffic to the site and more value to the site? It seems like it's a win-win all the way around. And if you establish this positive relationship now, from both a direct esports capacity sponsorship and also a content creation aspect, you have a blossoming relationship that everybody wins on. I if I'm HeroesHearth, I think is the best thing for all people involved, both the orgs and the players that specifically were signed up.
Yeah. And I
agree.
sort of like to tack on something that Argy said in the chat too, is that he said one of the main issues for sponsors in my eyes is that players are absolutely horrific at marketing themselves. And I think that that's like an advantage, right, of Khroen and McIntyre is like they're both streamers. They both have like communities, and like you're not just like investing in like somebody who's not gonna be a part of the community that HeroesHearth is, because like HeroesHearth is a community in and of itself. So like you're saying, like adding to that community is both for the players is good, like to have that community behind them, and then also for the players to like invest in the community.
Yeah, definitely. That's something huge that like I've thought about a lot, because there's a lot of players in the HGC who people don't know like who they are outside of like, okay, this person plays in the HGC. They don't know anything else about them like outside of that. So people aren't going to like follow a team or even like follow an esport if they don't care about the players. Like for me personally, I started getting into esports watching League of Legends, and I love the players. Like say, let's throw out a couple like Aframu, like Double Lift, even like Reginald back like in the day. Like I really like those players, and like seeing them and like being able to watch their streams and stuff like that. Like that's very, very important.
Yeah.
Something that's like infinitely valuable for organizations and for them. And I think that Blizzard could be doing more to help players even just understand how to brand themselves. Like also, I'm not taking all the blame off of players, because there are a lot of players who could be doing a lot more when it comes for that, and that would help the scene in general. It'd help themselves. It would help everybody. But whether people are too lazy or just don't know how to do that effectively enough, who knows? But Blizzard could eliminate one of those things by teaching players how to, I think, effectively brand and help market themselves, and even doing it like for them. I know Blizzard's doing like some like build articles sometimes, like, oh, like the new hero, like these 3 pro players have something to say about it, and like that's cool, and like that's one step. But I definitely think
Did they do a
there's-
Glaurung article? Didn't that
yeah,
just happen?
they did actually release, and I like I think stuff like that is really good. Like if I was
Yeah.
a player, or if I was a viewer of the HGC, and like obviously I would like probably know of Glaurung, I'd read that article, and maybe like I was like, oh yeah, I'd like want to follow Glaurung or be a fan of him. Like because of this, I know more about him. I can identify and want to support and stuff. Like I think that's really important, having that connection with pro players.
Absolutely. Like I was actually surprised that we haven't seen more content from Blizzard utilizing the pro players. It's like they're the ambassadors of the entire game. I thought that was the point of having the HGC and a competitive scene outside of just the competition, is just to draw interest in the game and create these personalities and faces.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
We need more drama. All I'm hearing from this is just we need more drama. Like as much as like
No, I think
maybe
that's
like
what I
as
look
a
to
lot of
that's
bring.
the
standings.
other side.
No,
I don't want drama. I don't
It
want
makes-
drama.
makes
No,
the-
it needs
makes
more
the
drama.
It depends.
team
It depends on the
picture and,
drama.
like the players look like you can't trust them. Honestly, like
The
it's like a
VITICZ and
walking
Lagath have brought thousands and thousands of viewers to HGC because people want to watch that like
Zuna
he
feeds.
doesn't like that guy, he doesn't like that guy, or Zuna not performing as well. I'm not gonna say feeding. That's
The old
immature.
GFE Niantic rivalry that generated
Yeah.
so much hype. Like that was
Exactly.
perfect. Like that stuff is good for the scene. It is
So they,
like
they need to go
It's
start
good for the
stoking the
scene.
fires, right? They need to just walk
some people
into
do,
like
yeah.
they should walk into Tempo Storm like comms and be like, "Did you guys hear what GFE said about you guys?" No, what did they say?
You're trying
They said
to
you
turn
guys
into
suck,
WWE,
you know?
man. You're trying to
That's what
faces
it's all
and
part of
heels
the
out
show,
here.
man. It's all part of the show.
I don't know about all that. But, I mean, from a conceptual standpoint, I really do feel like there's a lot more Blizzard can do, not only for the Open Division, but for the HGC as well. Because it's like, you see 10 names move around on the screen, stuff happens, one team wins, and then you hear like, oh, how'd you feel about that Murky pick? All right, any shout-outs? It's like a minute and a half tops where there's just no real FaceTime or connection with personality. And on top of that, if you have a player that isn't really versed in marketing themselves in that front, then that small window of opportunity is effectively wasted anyway.
Yeah.
So
That also raises, I guess, another point. Because the players like don't know what to do at that time, and usually like organizations, say like in other esports that are bigger, like teach their players how to, like what to do in that sort of environment. A lot of players just don't know what to do because there's been so many HC interviews that have been super awkward. Because there's like, yeah, that was good. Shout outs.
No, I love
shout out to my
Yeah.
team. Okay, bye.
No, I
Like,
It was
love the guy who
insane.
like actually has like something next to him where he's like,
Yeah.
"All right, what would you like to say?" Shout out to the organization, to our sponsor guy. Make sure you buy these glasses. That's the entire interview. I'm just saying.
I
yeah.
mean, to the part that I potentially play, like when we do HeroesHype Temple Storm on Wednesday nights, 9 Eastern, when I do interviews, I try to ask people questions that gives us insight to who they are. Like, I don't want to just ask, like, oh, how'd you feel about winning? It must feel good. Like, they're going to be like, yeah, like, I won. Like, okay. But if I can ask questions, like, I spend a lot of time thinking about the questions I wanted to ask you guys, Khroen and BBJ, because not only is it interesting to me, but I also think it's a good opportunity for you guys to add context. So when we do see you guys in action in less than an hour, making your next appearance in the Open Division, people know your mindset, what goes into it. Like, you're not just trying to take down the core. Esports is a passion of yours. Like this is something you eat, sleep, and breathe, and that adds context for the viewer and makes things all that more engaging. So I don't know. I just think across the board, there's a lot that not only Blizzard could do, but the players themselves could be like, how do I humanize my being a player in this scene? Because I think it's a lot more than just draft picks and heroics. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Definitely. I think that I guess some players either don't know how to do it, or like some technically, like at this point, it feels like some players don't even care, which is kind of
disheartening.
I mean, it's not kind of, yeah, it's really disheartening to like the scene because here trying to like help the scene grow and like want to do like maybe not like as much. Like I probably could be doing more, but like I'm doing
You're doing
I guess a decent amount.
Yeah.
And
You're doing
so
a good amount. Like,
yeah, I don't know.
comparatively.
I mean, we've kind
Comparatively,
of
sure, but-
veered off on a tangent, but this is actually a topic I've spent a lot of time thinking about. On a high level, I feel like the profile of the open division can be raised, either by more financial incentive or more direct advertisement from Blizzard. Things like putting it like right in the launcher, or like in game. You go into the game, it's like, hey, click this, and you can check out the open division. Make it more of a celebrated thing. And Khroen, you have experience in HGC on a week-to-week basis, so I actually feel like 2 best of 5s a day for each region. That's a lot, man. That's a lot. You're asking someone to sit there for 8 to 12 hours a day watching. Now, I found the mid-season brawl to be some of the most compelling heroes we've ever seen, because it was like 2 games and then unanswered questions. Like if it was a 1-for-1 split, it's like, all right, the next time these 2 teams meet up, it's gonna be crazy because there's like these unanswered questions about the matchup. Whereas a 5-game series can be very exhausting to watch. And I just feel like if they shorten it, they increase the quality of the HGC. I don't know exactly how they change that format up, but seeing potentially 20 games 3 days a week, that's just a lot. So
it definitely it can be. I know when when the HC was first starting up and they had like the player summit, like that's something that was talked about. And I mean, I personally I thought that it was okay. It seemed not to be like that bad. Like in Heroes of the Storm, games could be like 6 minutes long. Like so to have like a few short games, like that's not that much. But then it could get to the point where it's a 5-game series and like most of the games go 20 plus minutes, and that gets kind of exhausting. So I think it's hard to find that sort of that sweet spot, or maybe even like don't know what exactly it is yet. Like I think I have a lot of faith in Blizzard in correcting, not necessarily mistakes, but just adapting to what happens. And sometimes it's slower rather than faster. But I think the esports team for Heroes of the Storm at Blizzard definitely wants the best for their game and their esports. So I have faith that it will keep improving as time goes on.
Yeah, I agree. Looking in the chat, W Kong says, I really like the best of 5. You see more maps, and like one bad map doesn't make a team lose. That's fair. And like I'm not saying that I necessarily want to see a change from best of 5. It just I just feel like you can get as much HGC as you want. And from a long-term business perspective, I actually feel like you want to leave people wanting more. Like if you watch the NFL, it's like, yeah, you can watch a whole day of NFL, but it's 1 day a week. You're always looking forward to Sunday. You do that for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. By like week 6, it's like, all right, if I've seen as much Heroes as I feel like seeing, I don't necessarily need to keep watching.
Do you think that Europe and NA should play on different days?
See, I'm not saying I know what the right answer is.
We're here to figure that out together.
I just feel like it's a conversation that should be had.
Yeah.
You get to the point. I definitely watched more games the first half of the split. Like I was like the weekend like binger, right? But now this split, it's like I pick and choose the games that I want to see because it's exhausting.
I feel like part of it's because a lot of the games just aren't that exciting. Like I feel like a lot of the games you get are like, I mean, in NA we have the bottom 3, and then we have the 5 teams that are competing to go to BlizzCon. So it's like if one of the 5 are playing one of the 3, you already know the result before the game's over, basically.
But do you?
Unless Spaceship Gaming is playing Even in Death.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at oof. I'm looking at how's it going, Sophis? Sophis is directly connected to HGC. So I'm not sure HGC expects people to watch the entire broadcast. That's very fair. It definitely you're a marathon man. Like I do it pretty often, but yeah, I can get that. Winterberg says, I think the amount of downtime between games in a set is ridiculously long, but I know talked to Lauren about that already. I can agree with that. I feel like I'm not saying that best of two should be the way to go, but I'm just saying is from a scheduling standpoint, if I want to see HeroesHearth play and the schedule says 5 p.m. Eastern, but the preceding 2 matches in EU were both best of 5s, and now that game's starting at 6:30, I don't know. They're pros and cons to every format.
All right, let's take it back. I've been reading chat and I'm seeing someone wrote here more drama, and I kind of want to talk about that more. And why I think that's actually our solution. Okay, so I actually, as a viewer, I went back and started watching, some of the Superstar series, right? Because where's Srey subbing in? What's going on there? And that's a lot of drama. You're like, can they perform still without him? There's so much drama behind that, right? There's so much like the rest of the team, like how are they feeling, yada yada, all that stuff. Even the interview afterwards, like what's going on with you guys, like coming up to the next week and that kind of stuff. That makes me want to watch them. So if I get more of that, more of those questions of, do you hate this person like this person? Do you really want to beat this team? Why? Like maybe like some random stuff like that guy made fun of my mom, something like that. We gotta,
but isn't that like? But doesn't that like distract
think,
from like NA getting better and like at the international stage? Like if we're also consumed with like infighting. What do you mean? Like the European guys, they're making boy band videos and like. We don't even know, like some teams, like you hear rumors of like all the stuff that's happening in the HGC if you're like not in the know. So it's like, it definitely makes you think that like the cohesion that EU has and that only some teams in NA have, like, doesn't that affect like how we perform on the global scale? Because we're just not like a team for some of our teams.
I think that's a problem that stems from way before like HGC. I think even NA used to like blacklist each other because they didn't like a player or because they didn't like something. It was pretty.
They should
honestly,
have brought that out. They could have worked that as an angle.
Sometimes, well, okay, like there's the portion that's good for the scene, and sure, like if that's like talked about, or say like the like Kenma Michael Udall drama from like way back, like that got people riled up. Like that was spicy.
Yeah,
that was, and people like that.
Turbo?
But is it good? Yeah, for Turbo? Is it good?
Most savage tweet I've ever seen.
Is that good for NA getting better? No. I think that does distract from that. So it depends on, I guess, a couple of things. One, how NA wants to approach it as a region, if they want to focus on getting better or focus on like growing the scene. Or then what Blizzard wants to do, because Blizzard could easily take that angle as well on trying to like work up that like spice and that drama, or it could be more in favor of like trying to help the teams get better, which I don't really necessarily know how they would accomplish that one, but they do sort of have a say.
Import EU players.
They could definitely promote the what maybe Buzz was going to try to promote, the like team, like the region kind of like, I don't want to say the word collusion because it shouldn't be taken like that, but definitely like a lot more like
cohesion, maybe
cohesion. There you go, a little bit better, a little bit better cohesion, and maybe just try to get better scrims out of better cohesion. I'm not too sure if that would help it, but I feel like if I'm Blizzard, I'm like selling drama, fixing NA, selling drama. There you go. That's the solution.
If I was Blizzard, I would probably do that too.
There's a trickle down thing, because I think that like when Khroen just said that it goes back a long time, like with people being blacklisted, like you see that in the amateur scrims, like amateur teams won't scrim each other because they're like blacklisted, and it's like it's interesting to hear that like really is a trickle down thing from the pros.
BBJ, did we ever do that? Did we?
We never blacklisted anyone. We were lovely the whole time.
Right.
But if there wasn't like, if blacklisting wasn't a thing, like I'd be a lot more savage. I'd be more willing to call people out for how bad they are.
All right, somebody get BBJ a Twitter account with like 3,000 followers. Do that right now. Get him that and let him at people left and right.
Oh, please. Let me anonymously tweet.
A slight departure, but I think it's very relevant to the overall conversation. Coach says, do you think casters should take a bigger role in playing up the drama that we do have, or do casters need more drama to play up? My personal opinion is that drama can definitely be spicy, but I don't know if it's just it's something that should necessarily be emphasized because it could, in the long term, cheapen the overall experience and integrity.
Guys,
like,
I was never serious with the drama thing.
I know.
Meme, and I feel like people are really taking this on, so I feel like I have to keep
no,
going
I know.
We need more drama. We need more drama. That's what it is.
But the
That's
caveat I would say there is when I cast HeroesHype Tempo Storm series or anything where there's like an ongoing amount of stakes, I take a good amount of time to try to research the overall trajectory of a team to see, like, are they winning consistently? Are they starting to fall off? Basically, I try to humanize the teams. I try to find, if I'm talking to them in an interview, I try to find questions that engage them, like I said, and takes them out of more than just like a yes or no and try to get inside their head. I think a caster should try to bring out that element so those players are, by extension, more easily like cheered for. It's like I know that person a little more after that interview than I did before. So to that extent, I think there's a lot that casters and like a structure of a tournament can get involved in, because then it's like you gotta engage people. That would be my overall goal. Changing the HGC structure and things like that. Like I said, I don't think there's a right or wrong to any of that. There's always pros and cons, but the vision should be, how can we more engage viewers? Back to the best of two thing. Like, I found it to be very engaging to have these unanswered questions, because the next time you see these two teams match up, it's like, all right, I want to see what happens next.
But I can also see pro players having a real, like, I mean, we've seen other games try that attempt, right? Even best of ones, best of twos, and a lot of pro players don't agree with that kind of set, right? Because then they're like, well, someone won one fluke game and that decided our entire series,
Yeah, they just won one tournament at 4 a.m.,
Ooh.
Snap.
Yikes.
I mean, I think
And
though.
people don't like that. You're right. People
Yeah.
wouldn't like that kind of thing to happen,
I think going off of that, I remember like we had a conversation on GFE actually about like how, say, like Heroes was casted as opposed to like League of Legends, and sometimes like in Heroes casting, we didn't think there was like as much hyping up about the players. Like if they make a good play that was done, like sometimes there was a couple situations where like if someone made a good play or like the other person just like looked bad, Dread would just like bust out laughing, and like that doesn't engage viewers. Like if somebody doesn't know what just happened, they're just like hear casters laugh, like they don't know anything. But like as opposed to that, they sort of could be like, oh, like X just like made it like a good play, or like hype it up. You just like get loud, like do something. But like it was felt as though
they did hype up one team's coach in particular this weekend.
Was that Team Freedoms?
Oh, I think that was Team Freedom's coach.
Oh, really?
I'm just saying that like that could be done more, or I guess like just more effectively just overall. Just like hyping up players. Like even like I agree with the interviews too, like getting to know the players more, like in-depth interviews. But that also stems to just like the whole cast in general, I think.
But if we're talking about hype and like drama, why is Crucible not a LAN? That's my question right there.
I think that's a huge deal too. I think
that's a great question.
Really exciting.
Yeah.
I would
I think it
agree with
should
that, because I feel like going
like
into this year,
seeing them.
I emphatically said I'm more looking forward to the Crucible than BlizzCon.
Mhm.
And my reasoning for that was the Crucible was unlike anything we'd ever seen before, in that you were trying to maintain a status quo. In all previous tournaments, it's like there's a qualifier, you make it to the LAN, there's a prize, you either win the prize or you don't. The Crucible is like, I'm trying to keep my job. And
Or get a job.
Or get a job. And in that, I feel like it's an infinitely more compelling, well, maybe not infinitely, but it's a much more compelling prospect. And I do think I do think hyping it up more would really raise the overall stakes. I agree with that for sure.
I would just like to
And
bring
the
up
fact that when for the last Crucible, they picked the team that they were going to play 100, like based on the fact of ping. So like when that's like the major contributing factor of who you're playing, like that has to be taken into account. And like and like introducing those players, like the next generation of pros, hypothetically, right? Or people that are going to be in these crucibles. So like giving them face time, giving them screen time, like creating that story behind them. Yeah, it's something that I think agree that they should be doing.
Yeah.
I mean, we can all remember some of the spiciest memes in other esports was when you saw somebody lose at LAN and they physically cried, and then people were sharing that. Did you see so and so cry? You know, that's more drama. That could be amazing. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
the meme potential has to be respected in that sense, right?
You know what I want to see? I want to see HeroesHearth make it through the Crucible, and I want to see BBJ burst into tears. Drop down to his knees, and the camera zoom in on his face, and just be like, "Mom, I made it!" Ah! And then like someone comes over and is like, "How does it feel?" And he's like, "That's what I want to see."
We had that for ASU, you know. What I'm saying?
Here's the dorm. That was
Which was
sure.
like a powerful moment, right? That like, Mom, you don't have to pay. That was like immortalized to a certain extent. Like
everybody knows that
story.
phrase.
Yeah.
Actually,
that makes you feel things. That makes you
the Hal
invested.
Sanic picture. That's gonna be BBJ. He's like, I'm in age. He's like that picture. Nailed it.
Actually, I don't think BBJ has emotions though, so I think it would just zoom in on his face and look like a Korean StarCraft player that like didn't even care. They just won the entire tournament.
Wait a second, come on.
Apparently, according to Ari, he said BBJ is gonna be like Lady Gaga and not reveal his face until they win the Crucible and wear a box on his head.
I'll show up with a cereal box on my head, just slots cut out. I'll do it.
The Ragnaros box. You should get the Ragnaros box.
Yeah. No, it also goes back to just the fact, like, about LANs. Like, there's some players in HC who, like, you will never see their face because they won't qualify for any LAN. They just always play online, so you don't have a chance to know them. Whereas opposed to before with the regional structure, we qualify for them. Like, you got to see every player of those 8 teams. You got to know who they were. But now you're only going to see the top 3. And so there's going to be even less incentive. I guess that even goes back to the sponsorships. Like, for a sponsor, if you're going to sponsor like a bottom HGC team and they're never going to be like shown, like your jerseys will never get shown if you're one of those orgs. Like you're losing a lot from that.
All right, genius solution here, guys. All right, LAN obviously for international play, LAN for Crucible, and LAN for playoffs. That's every single team having the opportunity to show up at a LAN.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would like that. I would agree with that.
There you go.
I like that.
Yeah.
And so if it said you do see everyone's face, yeah, you do see the team intro things and people.
That's not a real face though. That's like
I mean it's true.
Cross.
It's true. From if I'm an org, I don't know if that's enough for me to be like,
you see their face, but you don't really see like them in the moment, which is I guess more so what I meant.
Yeah.
You don't see that like them live, like you don't know what they're feeling in that moment.
Up and down
exactly. That's more so like that is what attracts people. Not just like, oh, I could see a clip of them that was recorded like X amount of months ago.
Yeah. I mean, I don't pretend to have all the answers. I just feel like as both a viewer and when as a viewer, I try to be engaged by what I'm looking at. And as a caster, I try to engage what people are looking at. I try to humanize the elements. Like if someone's facing the Crucible, like that's a huge narrative. It's like if they win this game, they have a better chance of not making it to the Crucible. Because every time I ever see the open division, I'm like, I would never want to go into Phase 2 Crucible this year. Because these teams are playing like it's not Phase 1. It's not Phase 1 at all. Like, it's a whole different thing. You do not want to go to the Crucible this go around. Khroen will see you. you see that man right there.
I'm coming. Like,
Khroen
much love. Like, I want to be in the HEC. Like, that is my #1 goal. That is my.
So
just watch out. Just watch out.
I don't know. I just think there's a lot on the table across the board as far as making Heroes of the Storm a more compelling narrative. How to get there, I don't know. I really love all the opinions.
XD though, I think that actually helped.
I actually think it will, to be honest.
I literally had a conversation with 10-year-olds that were like, They're like my mother's friends' kids, and they're like, I saw Heroes of the Storm on Disney XD, and I was like, did you know that I coach a team? And they're like, no one cares, and I was like, oh, oh darn.
Ouch.
Damn.
I got blown
Happens
apart by
at you
10 years.
fast.
Man.
That's BBJ's 10-year-old self right there.
They may have been related to him.
I
Well-
trained him.
I mean, we've kind of gone all over the place, but that's the nature of Heroes Hype Live. I'm really pleased with all the input in everyone's head over what potential changes could happen. Again, I don't pretend to think I know all the answers. I'm just throwing in my opinion, and if anything, I like that it's a starting point for counterpoints in other portions of discussion. So feel free to use the hashtag HHLive. I definitely think this is a conversation that should be ongoing. I'm really glad that Sophus was here for it to get different perspectives, and he said it's already something that they continuously and actively talk about. Like you said, Khroen, Blizzard has a lot of love and passion for the Heroes esports scene, so I know they're gonna do everything that they can to make it as great a product as it can be. So I'm forever hopeful for the future. I just think it's something that should be discussed.
Definitely.
Lovely Hearthstone said, is Khroen going to play in the charity league tonight after open, or does he not like charity?
Wow. After that flame, after she said that he was cute too.
Oh,
I have it on good authority
Lovely
that Khroen does
Hearthstone.
not care about the kids.
I literally just
Clip.
in the 72-hour stream
No.
raising money for people affected by Hurricane Harvey. I literally participated in that charity stream
So
and
you
helped
chose the
raise
charity
money.
for older people, but not the kids' charity.
No,
So
I'll,
he
I'll,
was-
I'll play it. I was gonna play it yesterday, then like I kind of AFK'd and somebody like remade the lobby, and then I didn't join in time, so I was like, oh, I'm out of the game.
Because he was
Fine,
like,
but,
none of this money can go to children. Okay, if I see any of this money going to a child, I'm done.
Wow.
No, I'll
No
I'll
flame.
be playing in it. Maybe
flame.
tonight, maybe not tonight. How long is it going on for? I actually don't. remember
It'll be
This
through
week.
Saturday. Do
Yeah,
Friday
I'll
and
definitely
Saturday.
play in it.
I'm casting with Skimmy on Friday. I'm really looking forward to that one.
Okay. Yeah, it's something I'll definitely play in. If there's a charity going on, like, and there's something that I can do to help, like, I'm definitely willing to do that. Enjoy helping people. But yeah.
Ari said, pinging for awareness, but I want to know from BBJ who's the best Karazim. BBJ, Soy, or Ethics?
Dude, ethics. Come on, man.
Oh.
He never has to. He never has to play Karazim again. So he went out on a high note. You know.
Wow.
He can never miss another palm.
Oh
That is-
wow.
That is true. Jesus, man.
Well, I mean, I didn't realize we are now at an hour and 46 minutes in, and we are 10 minutes away from the semifinals of HGC Open Division. These two.
We can keep talking during open. We don't need to calm during these matches.
Oh!
Jeez.
Well, you wanted drama, Aether. Holy crap!
That's
Well,
why I love BBJ. That's why he's my boy. That's right.
all the same, Khroen, BBJ, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you guys on the show. Thank you so much for taking time to sit out with us and talk about these random things. It's been amazing to get your perspective. Really appreciate it. And I think it's added a lot to the conversation. I hope to see it continue. But first and foremost, thanks to you guys for coming out.
And thank you for having us. And I guess to stream, if you don't know, yeah, we'll be playing in 10 minutes on twitch.tv/arcane8 for the semifinals of the Open Division. So if you want to watch that, check it out there. And yeah, again, thank you for having us. I had a good time here.
Yeah, BBJ, thanks again to you, man. Thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
we
thanks
definitely
for-
got to see some more of your personality. Because like I said, we see you go out making plays as a support, but who knew you were this savage?
Thanks for asking. One of the unknown players on HeroesHype.
Yeah. Gotta build up all our players, the
Yeah.
brand. Speaking of brand, check out HeroesHearth.com.
Got him.
It's a really great website for.
Khroen, we need to work on
students.
No, that was good. That was good. And it genuinely is a great site, a great resource.
Yeah,
to
no,
get
it really
builds
is.
And improve your play. I wrote a blog article on there.
bunch of because today a bunch of heroes got patched. All the builds are already updated, and I know me and McIntyre have been throwing a bunch of builds for the new heroes up there. So all that stuff's there
Yeah,
if you're looking
that
to play the new heroes.
That website's very on top about patch updates. It actually has different branches for like the PTR as opposed to live as well. So they stay ahead of the curve there. But Yeah, I don't want to take up any more of these guys' time. Again, thanks so much for hanging out. This has been another amazing episode of Heroes Hype Live. We do this on Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And we also have Heroes Hype Temple Storm Series 3 going on. Week 1 was insane. I can't wait for it tomorrow night. That'll be tomorrow at 9 Eastern. Feel free to follow the channel. Follow Heroes Hype on Twitter as well. And use the hashtag HHLive. I really do want to hear more opinions about potential changes, how to engage the audience and things like that. This is a conversation that came out of this, but I think it's very compelling. I think it's very interesting, so I'd really love to hear more opinions. But as always, fun the chat with you, Aether, maybe Buzz, maybe Dave, Heroes Heart. Appreciate that. But yeah, Heroes Heart, good luck to you guys tonight. Keep doing your thing, man. See you in the Crucible and beyond.
Good
Thank you very
luck.
much. Thank you.
Thanks.
Much love.
But for now, that's going to round it out for us. Thanks again for hanging out, chatting, and being involved in the conversation, you guys in chat. But we're going to call it a night. Take it easy.